Greetings, friend.
Hello again and welcome back to Storm Talk. Today we are going to be talking about Johanna, the Crusader of Zakarum. That's totally not weird to say, even though I've played Crusaders a bunch and know exactly how that's supposed to be pronounced. You can take a moment to read her background. We're going to take a second to look at her character design. I'm a little disappointed that in her...
You're a thoughtful sort.
That in her little bit of a display here, we don't really have a lot of movement of that Morning Star. I don't know, it's just, her character model looks great. I was just kind of expecting things to flow, like her Morning Star to swing and her tabard to kind of sway a little bit. It's a little bit weird. But anyway, so she is a melee warrior from the Diablo universe. Her passive ability, her trait, is Iron Skin. This is an activatable ability. She becomes unstoppable, which means she cannot be stunned, slowed, captured, or disabled. She also gains a shield that absorbs a decent amount of damage. It absorbs roughly 1/4 of her HP.
You're a thoughtful sort.
Her basic abilities are Punish, 40 mana with an 8-second cooldown, and it slows enemies by 60% and decays over 2 seconds. Condemn, 50 mana with an area effect and a cooldown of 10 seconds. After a 1-second charge time, you pull enemies into you and stun them for 1/4 of a second. You also deal some damage. I mean, they could basically remove the damage aspect of this, and it's still a perfectly good ability. Shield Glare, 45 mana, 12-second cooldown. You deal some decent damage, and enemies will miss their next 2 basic attacks within 4 seconds. Her heroic abilities, you can choose between Falling Sword, 100 mana with an 80-second cooldown. You leap towards an area.
You're a thoughtful sort.
You leap towards an area, and while mid-air, you can steer your landing location slightly. You don't have a lot of speed while moving. You have roughly the equivalent of, I think, quarter speed. So you're not going to really be able to catch up to somebody, but you can kind of aim a little bit. And that does become important with the level 20 version, and you'll see that. Blessed Shield, 90 mana. It's a skill shot, and it has a 6-second cooldown. Basically, you get to become Captain America. You punch people in the face, you stun them, your shield bounces. It's kind of nice. Let's take a moment to look at her skins. So you have her Crusader skin and color schemes. You have her Master skin and color schemes.
You're a thoughtful sort.
And you have Centurion and color schemes. I'm just going to go with the purple Centurion just because the Centurion skin looks amazing and I'm already here. Okay.
Yes, let's give it a try, shall we? Akarat wills it.
So obviously we're going to do our little bit of a show. For her Q, you take a step forward and swing. You can see here the aiming reticule, which is really a complicated aiming reticule for no reason. So to try to... it looks like a complicated aiming reticule, but to try to basically make it easy, she'll take a step forward, barely moving. You can see her character icon, the circle around you that displays who you are. You will literally step onto that, as you can see. The little triangle trident thing is actually just her... Let's see if I can get a good... It's just her shield symbol, so it actually has no meaning. And then the big arc is the skill shot. Condemn, or yes, Condemn. Circle around you. Simple enough, this is the area of effect, and then it gets thrown into you. And Shield Glare shoots out, kind of like a shotgun. A well-placed shield glare can be used to drop down towers. You can hit both towers and the gate. Not a bad little ability. However, even though shield glare will cause enemies to miss phasing attacks,
Over here.
that is not true about buildings, for obvious reasons. So to kind of give her some demonstration, let me heal up a little bit. Oh, also to demonstrate the shield. It is awkward that when they give you the stats in the screen, like I think they give you like level 0 stats or something, because like the iron skin in the store says it stops 193 damage, whereas the level 1 version is 250. And as you notice, 250 is exactly 1/4 of her current health. We'll get into that as she levels up. But let's to demonstrate that, you get a big shield. It has a timer goes down, and a pretty long cooldown. You also see that hand that says you're unstoppable.
I go.
If for some situation you cannot actually stack the shield from this, awkwardly enough. Also, you notice that it actually gives 251 shields. So,
Very well.
let's go ahead and toggle minions, and we'll show her in combat. Simple enough. As a warrior, she doesn't do a lot of damage, but her ability to drag people out can be rather useful in a fight.
Seems right.
In fact, one thing that is great about it, about being able to pull people towards you, is if used properly, you can pull an enemy. That was weird. You can pull an enemy hero out of position. As you see, I was able to pull him basically from the back line into the middle of my line, or in the middle of my front line. Takes a little bit of getting used to, but if you get somebody to sit on the outside of your mark, you can pull them straight to you. So, a couple of well-placed pops here and there, and you could literally set up an entire battlefield that you're controlling just by pulling people. You can pull in squishies, you can use it to try to push out some of the heavier duties from hitting whoever you're supporting. And yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about some stats. As you can see, just let me go ahead and heal again.
Of course.
As you can see here, she starts off with 1,000 hit points straight, with a 2.08 regeneration. She has 500 mana with 3 regeneration. She has an attack range of 1.5, damage of 45, and an attack speed of 0.91. Pretty simple. And you can see as she levels up, now, as you notice, she has 7,670 HP with a 15.9 regeneration, 790 mana with a 5.83 regeneration, and she now does 306 damage on hit. Her Iron Skin now does 1,918. Yes. And it actually does that much now. Which, if you notice, I am just shy of 8,000, and that's just shy of 2,000. It's roughly a quarter of her HP. And you can even kind of see that here. That's roughly a quarter of that. although that's a little bit harder to tell in chunks. Punish does 348 damage. Condemn does 170 damage, and Shield Glare does 170 damage as well. So as you can see, Punish is her primary bread and butter for damage. However, pulling people in and stopping them from being able to hit, very, very key. Actually, it's a little bit weird that she ended up as a tank and not a support. With this ability is literally the same as Lily's Tornado, I don't remember its name, ability. So, yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at her abilities. Of course, for the first set, we're going to go through. We're going to be doing the whole unlocked thing, so we're just going to be doing the first two. So, Reinforce, using your basic abilities, reduce the next basic attack against you by 50%. This is the same as the standard armor general talent. It's just her specialized version of it, so instead of stacking over time, hers stacks whenever she casts an ability. Which actually makes it a little bit worse than it normally would be, since, like, these have such long cooldowns. Over the course of 20 seconds, you're casting Condemn twice, Shield Glare once, maybe twice if you're lucky, Punish 2 times. Actually, it'd probably be better to say over the course of 24 seconds, 3 Punishes, 2 Shield Glares, and 2 Condemns. Yeah, that's not a lot for shields. You also have the Knight Takes Pawn. Condemn deals 680 damage to minions and mercenaries and stuns them for 4 seconds. You notice that is a ton of damage compared to what Condemn normally does. It also stuns minions, very similar to how ETC stuns them with his Rock Your Face Out ability. This is actually very, very nice. She also goes into Righteous Smash. Punching people in the face grants her mana back. For a 40 mana spell, if you hit 4 people, it's free. Basics. And Regeneration Master, again, a general talent. Hers is 4 health per second every 3. Yeah, it's actually a very nice one, especially when you mix it with her Law of Hope, which has regenerate health equal to your level plus 1 per second, and you can activate it to heal 20% of your health. So she basically is capable of going from like 1% back to 100 pretty quickly. But we'll demonstrate that on the next go round. We're going to take Knight Takes Pawn for this one.
Choose a talent.
At level 4, you have Amplified Healing. General talent, a nice one, but a general. Roar increases punishes damage by 50%. Internal Retaliation. Condemn's cooldown is lowered by 0.75 seconds for each enemy affected up to 10 targets, meaning it would have a reduction of 7.5 seconds if you hit 10 targets. Not a bad thing. And Law of Hope, as I said, an activatable heal that also gives you passive regeneration. We're going to go with Roar because it's the top 2.
Choose a talent. I think so, yes.
Normally, if you're going to take Knight Takes Pawn, Eternal Retaliation is definitely where you'd want to go, though. Next, she has Battle Momentum, basic ability. However, if you did take Reinforce, it does stack with Battle Momentum. Your basic attacks reduce your abilities' cooldowns, so you're basically spamming at that point. Really nice. Next, she has Skin Exposed. Shield Glare marks enemies for 4 seconds. The next time any ally damages them, they take an extra 210 damage. The mark is then used, or devoured, or removed, or consumed, or however you want it. It says removed, but it's actually consumed, or there are a bunch of better ways to have said that. Following on, you have the Crusader Marches On. Basic and heroic abilities lower the cooldown of Iron Skin by 1.5 seconds. Again, this stacks pretty well with Reinforced. You're spamming your abilities, and it's allowing you to spam your shield. Sadly, if this would have been like a level 4 talent or something, and you could go like reinforce, Crusade marches on, and then battle momentum, you'd be unstoppable. But she can't, so it's sad. And then you have Conviction. Condemn increases your movement speed by 25% for 1 second. Remember that 1 second is the charge time of Condemn as well, so it basically allows you to hit it and move it. You noticed while I was in combat, moving around with Condemn and trying to keep people inside of that little AoE range you have, but keep them on the edge so you're getting the most pull out of it is a little bit tricky. This would help with that. And again, also with the Eternal Retaliation, it's pretty good. We're going to be taking the Sins Exposed for obvious reasons. Falling Jump, you leap in the air. So to demonstrate this one, you leap in the air and you have some movement speed. You are slowed during movement, and activating your shield does not... Actually, does that? No, activating your shield does not remove that slow.
The Crusade calls.
It is a very nice ability. Takes 2 seconds to land. You can use it as an escape and as a pursuit. Same as most leaping abilities. So, continuing on. At level 13, you have Burning Rage. You deal 70 damage per second to enemies nearby. Hold Your Ground increases the Iron Skin shield by 20%, and if the shield is destroyed by damage, the cooldown is reduced by 4 seconds. This sounds great, but remember that the shield is only active for 4 seconds. This means that at most you're going to be able to shield up again in 12 seconds. It's nice, but it's not that great. An extra 20% shielding is amazing, but personally, Burning Rage is probably a much better way to go if you're wanting to be a tank, because you're dealing damage while taking damage. Subdue is also kind of nice. It increases your slow. Spell Shield is a general talent. I personally would probably go with Burning Rage. There's just something about being able to stand next to somebody and burn them. It's satisfying. But we'll take Hold Your Ground just to kind of demonstrate it a little bit. As you can see now, it does over 2,000 shielding. But you notice that extra 20% is 20% of the shield, not 20% of your health. So, yeah, that's 20% of slightly more than 2,000, which comes out to 400, an additional 400 shield at max level. Yeah, that's not really worth it, compared to taking an additional 400 damage over 4 seconds. Holy Renewal. Every enemy affected by your shield glare heals you for 325 at max level. This is probably one of the best abilities you can take. I'm not joking with that. Like, seriously, getting a heal on a character who is primarily HP, it's kind of nice. Fanaticism. While Iron Shield is active, you gain 8% movement speed every time you take damage. Sadly, this requires you taking damage, so you can't use this as kind of like a Iron Shield and run in, but at the same time, you could use it as an Iron Shield and run the fuck away. Blessed Hammer. Condemn creates a hammer that spirals around you. This happens after Condemn. I will show this one later. And Imposing Presence. General talent. Enemies attack. Basic attacks are slowed. Yeah. We're going to go with Holy Renewal.
Choose a talent.
And she has the basic, or the general talent of Indestructible. Actually, no, this one's not a general talent, sorry. The Storm Shield general talent, and she also has Indestructible. Upon taking fatal damage, you gain a shield equal to your maximum health for 5 seconds. This ability has a 120-second cooldown. This is virtually the same as the Resurrection ability, except it doesn't last as long. 5 seconds is a long time in a fight. You could, if depending on what you take, you could get in and out of a fight in that time. I don't think I'd ever take that personally. I would probably take Heaven's Fury, getting that extra damage in, or Radiating Faith. for getting that extra stun or extra 2 stuns. Indestructible is, however, really nice if you are the only tank on your team and you're still somehow dying every other shot. Anyway, we're going to take Heaven's Fury. As you can see, while in air, Holy Bolts rain down on enemies and deal 235 damage. They also reduce the cooldown by 2 seconds for each enemy they hit.
Of
So,
course.
it doesn't look any different. However, when you jump over, you start shooting things. And you notice, let's refresh these forts real quick, that every time they take damage, let's see, can I get the cooldown is lower. So what starts as a 80-second cooldown drops down to basically a 50-second cooldown if used properly. So let's go ahead and toggle minions and just kind of demonstrate this on minions. So if you use this on a minion wave, I do think there's a maximum to what it can hit, but as you can see, there is great potential in literally cooling down, almost instantly hitting your cooldown. Well, not instantly, but that's about half of your cooldown right there. So let's go ahead and toggle minions again. We're going to demonstrate this in a fight, or the character in a fight, using these abilities. I seriously messed that up again.
Thank you, my friend. Very well. Yes.
And do remember that because I did take Knight Takes Pawn, I pretty much can one-shot minion waves. Okay, let's go ahead and reset the levels. Now, for this one we're going to demonstrate, I don't want to say we're going to demonstrate a better build, but another interesting build. For this character I will be doing 3 builds. I will show you the one that I just showed you, which is the starting up build.
Right.
I'm going to show you this one, which is a much more tanky build, and then I'll show you my final build, which is the one I've used when I played her, how the limited times that's been. So we're going to start with Regeneration Master.
Choose a talent.
Go into Law of Hope. Next, we are going to continue with Sins Exposed because it's a pretty nice ability. We're going to take Blessed Shield. To demonstrate this one a little bit, Blessed Shield bounces. However, you do have to be slightly careful about where you bounce. It does have a limited bounce range. Okay. Next, we're going to take Subdue, just so we can get that slow.
Choose a talent.
And we're going to take Holy Renewal again. This time we're going to take Radiating Faith. Increases the Blessed Shield range by 25%. The distance the shield bounces increased by 25%. And the maximum number of enemies hit by 2. Remember that it bounces to an additional 2 enemies, so that by doing this, you give it the ability to bounce to 4 enemies. However, the ability to bounce to 4 enemies does not guarantee that it will bounce to 4 enemies. As you can see, that only bounced to 3 because it can't make that leap. So, a well-placed, or placing the shield in a great place, starting at a tower so it will hit the wall, into the gate, into the next tower, into the next wall, allows you to cover more ground.
Of course.
Also staying at an angle that it seems to want to bounce towards you. So if I stand on this side, although I hit the tower, it should bounce to the gates. Whereas if I stand on this side, when I hit the tower, it'll bounce to the wall. Now, you notice I picked up Regeneration Master and Law of Hope. My character now has 50 health regeneration per second.
Yes.
This is without picking up any additional globes. I could reduce the amount of damage I'm taking currently even further if I would activate my shield. But, as you can see, they get me about, the two towers going at me, get me about halfway. But, I am regenerating health so fast that as soon as the towers are empty, there is no chance that they'd ever be able to really do damage to me again. It takes a couple of seconds for the towers to reload to kind of demonstrate this point, but you notice I've already almost completely recovered. Like, they got me down to 4 and I'm back to 6. I can also heal this a little more. Actually, apparently that doesn't work on buildings. Oh, it's only enemy heroes. Wow, I feel really dumb for missing that. But still, as you can see, almost at max health. And if I'd have picked up any health globes, that number would continue to go up. So, pretty nice tanking abilities. Very similar to like I showed with Diablo, how he regenerates health faster than you can take it away if he's built properly.
Go.
So now let's go ahead and demonstrate this in a combat situation. We'll go ahead and toggle everything real quick. So remember that I did do Sins Exposed, which allows me to do bonus damage to enemies. Now this character, as you've probably noticed, not all that good at killing. However, she is extremely good at stick-to-itiveness, or however you want to describe that.
Yes.
And since she, at this stage, she basically cannot be killed, as I said, indestructible is almost pointless. If ever there's a point where I do need healing, I can just count on my support, Malfurion. I have my shield that I can pop, and I have a heal that I can pop, as well as my heal from punching people in the face.
My wounds heal. Very well.
Now, as I said before, as you can see, she's not all that good at killing, but let's go ahead and turn off minions. One thing that is nice to notice, your shield throw at level 20 actually does outrange the buildings. Now, of course, you're not going to be able to throw this many of them at it, but over the course of a couple of minutes in combat, a couple of run-ups and hits, you can do some serious damage to a fort. Okay, let's go ahead and reset one more time. Now, this is a build that I've used on her before. Feel free to try to work on it, make it even better.
Choose a talent.
But so we're going to start off with Knight Takes Pawn, into Eternal Retaliation, Conviction. I'm going to take Fallen Sword, and Burning Rage, into Blessed Hammer,
As it should
and
be.
Heaven's Fury. I did promise I was going to show Blessed Hammer,
Seems
so
right.
to show Blessed Hammer, after the Condemned comes in, you get the hammer that goes outwards. So as people are trying to get away, there's a chance they'll get punched in the face with the hammer. You also notice that each of these abilities I have picked work into each other. Most of them are Condemn itself. Burning Rage, enemies who are near me. Well, when people are pulled closer to me, they're near me. I wish there was a way I could kind of show the Burning Rage AoE, but it doesn't show it for some weird reason. And then, of course, Fallen Sword allows me to jump up into the air. So,
Why not?
demonstrate this one in battle. Which actually just those sports real quick.
Very well. Over here.
Let's pull him away a little bit. Now, since I don't have a lot of attack abilities, for the most part, I'm pretty much reliant on walking in and doing the most damage with Condemned possible.
I go.
But she is innately tanky enough that she can take on most things. She can take on towers and buildings without too much of a problem. And with Knight Takes Pawn, I'm capable of destroying minion waves with nothing else except for Condemn.
That feels much better.
So, as I said, she's not exactly the strongest character in the game, but she is an extremely capable tank who, just plain and simple, can do a lot of damage. And let's just go ahead.
My wounds heal.
Show off her dance a little bit. Anyway, this was my Storm talk on Johanna, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this is helpful for anybody who wants to play it, and if you have any comments or suggestions that might improve the Johanna build, feel free to leave them down in the comments. Have a wonderful day.